What's up, and welcome down to the vault today. And you know what, Walt? Another artist spotlight today.
One of your favorites and
One of my
influences.
favorites. I don't know if you guys are on this one. They were a big influence on me. I know a lot of you guys like the artist spotlights. They seem to do really well on the channel. But and this band was kind of obscure, but there's a chapter in my history that if I didn't talk about them for a little while, I mean, to me, they were a huge influence, and I'm talking about Wendy Orlean Williams and the Plasmatics. And there was a time in my life, probably 81, 80, 82, where I listened to the Plasmatics every day. I don't know if it was they, because I was kind of doing punk and metal at
Well,
the
they're
same
formed
time.
in '77,
Yeah.
to give you an idea. And I'm not a total Plasmatics head. After reading about them, I respect them for what they did. They're more of an East Coast punk band. They started out like more punk, but
They evolved into metal, though.
they did. They did. And what I liked about it was they started at CBGB's, and they played shows that were the live shows, like blowing up cars, smashing TV
Televisions.
sets, and
Yep.
her showing a lot of boobs, breasts.
Electric tape on her over her nipples. She used to use
That in the
those.
beginning, because I got a picture
Yeah.
of her without anything. But yeah, she was getting naked a little bit in these. And what was interesting is that their live show with no album out at all did so well that CBGB's offered them 2 nights like every month or weekly, I think, and that the lines I heard were sold out and they were around the block, and they had to expand actually to another bigger place, and then they did 4 nights in a row weekly, and it was
What
like,
year was this, Walt? 78, 79?
it was during in their early years until they got a record deal. But so the first album in '78 through '79 was the Formation in the early years, and then they did New Hope for the Wretched.
Which came out in 80, right?
Well, I think it came out, yeah, '80, and then Beyond the Valley of 1984.
That's the one
which
that
is,
hooked me. That's one opens with Master Plan. Although I had heard of them before, and I was listening to other punk music, I got onto the Plas on Beyond the Valley of '84, and then I had heard after that
Metal
new Hope for the
Priestess,
Wretched.
which was 1980 to 81. See, it kind of deceives you that the Valley of 1984, it wasn't really 1984. They were writing about
No, it wasn't '84. It was
Right,
they
81.
that what they mean Beyond the Valley of '84.
Right.
And when I was a kid, a lot of people predicted that the end of the world was 1984. You'll hear a lot of punk songs, like even Dead Kennedys. Now it is 1984. So a lot of people thought that the end of the world was coming in '84. If you're as old as we are, but that was what caught me into them.
Not the theatrical.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. I loved it. I loved the fact that Richard wore, a nurse's uniform or a big old tall, looked like this transvestite. He wore makeup, probably about 7'2" with a blue mohawk.
Chainsawing guitars.
And then West Beach, he had a tux on and his eyes were all dirty. And then the bass player, John Bouvier, was a black guy who wore a white tux with a white mohawk. And I just thought the whole thing was cool, and it just really raw and exceptionally like over the top, and I liked the songs. I liked
true.
the titles, and I liked the groove to a lot of them, especially on Beyond the Valley of '84. I thought that New Hope for the Wretched was much more a punk type record. The songs were really fast and aggressive. I thought they were more refined. And then by Metal Priestess, they were kind of a metal band.
Well,
In fact,
they actually got to go out with Kiss on a tour.
yeah, they
right?
had a song on Solid Gold. Remember Solid Gold back in the day?
They made some TV appearances.
Black Leather
also.
Monster and
Late night TV shows.
Yep, they did. They were on, I think, Tom
But they
Sawyer.
were a controversial theatrics, but they were into chainsawing guitars, blowing up speaker cabinets, sledgehammering TV sets, and blowing up automobiles live on stage. So that really, the theatrics part kind of took off. And they were more of an East Coast thing, because they played Detroit.
Well, they were all over because in '81 they became a national act. Because I remember seeing them on remember there was a show like there was Saturday Night Live, but it was called Fridays. That's and they were on that, and they were on Tom Stein. They were on a couple of late night
they
things
were.
I saw, and so I got into them early on, and then I followed them all the way. Actually, Exodus, we played with Motorhead and Wendy O at a show, and they were like that was a dream for me because Wendy O was such an influence
And
on me, just as a live performer, not necessarily as a vocalist.
well, as a group too, they had some success back, like I said, on the East. In New York, they headlined the Palladium in 1979, late '79, and they were the first group in history to do so at full ticket prices and without a major label recording contract or disc. I mean, that says something right there that they were very underground, but the people that follow them would go see them, and they didn't even have a record, or they were very early in their formation, right? In '79, in '80, they wrote the first records, right? So, but also after they went on tour with Kiss, Gene Simmons kind of liked them, so he wanted to produce them, and then he had some people come in on the album that was called Wow. That was like the hiatus period because they did another album after
Wendy O. Williams, basically.
right,
Wow.
right, and they had some people come in and like Eric Singer and Ace Frehley and who else was on there?
And worked with Wendy.
And they worked with they appeared on that album that was the Wow album.
I remember that.
And what else here? I got it somewhere here.
I love how he has his notes all organized
So. And then later on in '82, Wendy and Lemmy from Motorhead did a duet together on another one of her albums. But what else you got, Steve?
Oh.
Well, I've looked something up.
Well, actually.
Oh, here it is. No, that's not it yet.
Don't you love how he's looking for it? I love it. It just makes television more raw.
Well, the Plasmatics made their debut in Los Angeles at the famed Whiskey A Go Go, and they played 2 nights and expanded it to 4 due to large sellout crowds. So that's hard to do, too. You go down and you play the Whiskey, right? And then you have 2 nights, but you extend it to 4. Vinnie Vincent, Paul Stanley, Eric Carr, and Ace Frehley also were on that album.
All Kiss
on
guys.
the Wendy O solo career Wow album. But their last one, West Beach, is actually the only member with Wendy O Williams that appeared on everything that they did on album wise.
And then she passed.
Yes, and then the tragic suicide.
She actually committed suicide.
Because of depression. You hear a lot of artists go through that. I think there's a fine line between someone that's very creative and genius in what they do, right? And then you take that and real life kind of, you have an effect on you and you have some psychological problems.
Either
sometimes.
that or you're used to the spotlight and people kind of kissing your ass, and then it slows down a little bit and you don't dig that anymore, you know what I mean? So it turns you into depression. I don't know.
I think she took a shotgun to herself or something like that.
Yes, she did. Found by her husband, right, Rod Swenson, who actually managed the band.
Right, and he was a big part of their
yes,
success
he was.
too. From behind
Rod
it,
Swenson
so
was. Mm-hmm.
A lot of bands have that manager that people don't really know in public, but they know they do something to push that band and get them the right slots or hook them up with the right producers and such. And also, she was arrested a couple times, right?
Yeah, for indecent exposure and,
lewd. She was masturbating on stage.
Yeah, on stage, lewd behavior. So, yeah, she created some controversy. I love the fact of the controversy, but I really like the songs. This is a band that I like the music. I like the songs. I like the attitude. I like the rawness.
And they evolved also.
I liked everything about the Plasmatics, man. It was
so they started out more punk, and then they went a little more metal.
Kind of like
and then
what
they mellowed
did.
down and towards the end to try to give it that commercial.
I don't know about mellowed down, but then they did get back together and they did kind of a rock opera thing. It was called Maggots.
Right, in '87.
Yeah, and then I believe that was the last thing the Plasmatics
Yeah, they didn't have a huge career. It was a 10-year period.
No, not too long, but impact. And
10 or 11 years.
And that's why I say, because I like to talk about the things that influence me. You guys ask me all the time, bits and pieces. I would not have a lot of the stage mentality I took from Wendio, from watching the Plasmatics and the rawness and the the instant of everything, the moment, kind of.
Like what you're saying is it was a blend of punk and metal genres, but the people that it influenced, Anthrax, the Cro-Mags, to name a couple, it influenced a lot of people. Like I said, if you're a musician, you're always looking to push that envelope,
regardless
to do something
if it
different.
got big or not, or if you remember it or not, because you obviously, I mean, their heyday was probably 1981, which is almost 40 years ago, but if you remember anything about them, you know what I mean? This is...
Well, I remember seeing them on MTV, right?
Yeah, well, not too much. They were already done by the time
Well, maybe I saw the more commercial era of them.
But I do have a video of them, a DVD, and they did get some run at the time. And
you said you did play with them, huh?
Yeah, Exodus did. It was Exodus Motorhead.
Where was that
Wendio, Henry J. Kaiser.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Well,
so I did see him.
You did.
I'm surprised, but I was probably fucked up at the time. But
So, any more on Wendio and the Plas?
No, I'm glad that made a big influence on your life because I didn't know a lot about it, but by researching it, I learned a lot, and a lot of these bands that I didn't know a lot about, I learned up having a lot of respect for them, and I do this band.
Yep, definitely. So, anyway, leave some comments for me, and obviously subscribe to my channel and share this, and we'll be talking about the next artist spotlight real soon.